Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to another compelling, important program that looks at a whole range of issues. And we kick off with Vicky Hernandez, Executive Director of Ironbound Community Corporation, based in beautiful Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. Vicky, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Steve.
Vicky, could you let everyone know what the Ironbound Community Corporation is and why it matters now more than ever?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So Ironbound Community Corporation is a community-based grassroots organization that has been based in the Ironbound for 52 years. And we do a combination of advocacy and organizing work that has been at the core of who we are since the very start, and a range of social services and youth and family programming that spans from serving children, infants and toddlers to adults.
Mm-hmm. So let's try this. Obviously, COVID has impacted all of our lives. What can and what can't you do remotely?
Well, there's some things we can do remotely. So our finance team, for example, is remote. A lot of our back offices are still remote, but absolutely we are a community-based organization and we have to be on the ground serving our community members. And so there is a lot of work that we do in person and have been doing in person since the start of the pandemic, really since April. One of those things has been emergency food relief, which we do extensively. But a lot of our work is in person. We have to do it very carefully and try to protect the safety of our community members and our staff. But we really have no other choice. That's how our community members connect with us, and we have to be there for them. And so we find ways to do that.
You know, we're involved, as you well know, with an initiative called Reimagine Childcare, affordable, accessible childcare, particularly in urban, underserved communities. You're in the Ironbound section of Newark. You and your team have been involved in childcare for many years. What does the childcare situation look like in the Ironbound?
Well, it's incredibly difficult. You know, we began to see this really early on in the pandemic, where you know, many of our community members don't have the luxury of doing remote work the way that, you know, many people in suburban communities might be able to do it. They are frontline workers. They are doing day labor jobs. And so the option to work from home does not exist for them. And so childcare has been a huge need for them, right? Schools have been remote in Newark until recently, right? And they're not entirely in person now. They're still operating on a hybrid model. And so you know, one of the things that we've done is we opened a remote learning site where parents can bring their kids to our site, and they come to us and do remote schooling from our Lafayette Avenue location. But it's been incredibly hard. I think that you know, in addition to the need for parents to be, you know, out and working and need a safe place for childcare, our families have faced a lot of other challenges in the pandemic. So the ability to navigate this virtual world has been really challenging for a lot of folks, whether it's been access to the internet or just the ability to navigate the virtual world has really been detrimental to them and detrimental to our kids as well.
You know, Vicky, so much of our work since March of 2020 has been focusing on the work of not-for-profits like yours, making a huge difference, particularly in these difficult times. But one of the areas that has been so critically important is vaccine resistance, vaccine acceptance. What are you finding in the community you serve, particularly as it relates to those who are either hesitant or all-out resistant to the vaccine?
You know, I'm happy to answer that. You know, I think that we saw very early on in December when the vaccines were originally approved, that there was more resistance then, and I think that's understandable. You know, it was new. We don't see the same kind of resistance now.
You don't.
The biggest, yeah, I would say that the biggest barrier that we see right now is ease of access. Not even access, but ease of access, right? So, you know, many of the ways that that folks register to get the vaccine, they have to go online, they have to provide a lot of information. there's a hesitancy around that, or an inability to navigate that environment in order to be able to do that. So recently, 2 Saturdays ago, we hosted a pop-up vaccination site with the Newark Department of Health. And we had an unbelievable turnout. 575 people came out to get vaccinated on that day. And that was just a week's worth of registering people, right? Talking to folks on the phone, helping them to fill out their forms, right? The online piece was not a barrier. The appointment was not a barrier. We had slots available that day. So even if folks weren't registered, they could come up and do it. And so that ease of access really is critical. We could have stayed open for hours and hours longer, but just couldn't keep going that day. But plan to do more of these pop-up vaccination days in our community, because we really feel that is the best way to reach people in our community.
Vicky, as difficult as this pandemic has been for so many, if it were not for nonprofits like yours making a difference, particularly in underserved communities, it would be that much worse. Vicky Hernandez, Executive Director, Ironbound Community Corporation, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. I'm Steve Adubato. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, PNC, Grow Up Great, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Summit Health, United Airlines, the New Jersey Education Association, NJM Insurance Group, and by Choose New Jersey. Promotional support provided by New Jersey Family Magazine and by bestofnj.com.
I'm Tim Sullivan, CEO of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Since joining the NJEDA, I've been struck by the incredible assets and resources that New Jersey has to offer. The NJEDA is working every day to grow New Jersey's economy in a way that maximizes the values of those assets to benefit every single New Jersey resident. This includes more support for small businesses and a focus on reclaiming New Jersey's position as a leader in the innovation economy. Visit njeda.com to learn more about how NJEDA is building a stronger and fairer New Jersey economy.